everybody. How are you? Welcome in to session 4 of Soul Shift for March. We're a little bit early today because it's my son's birthday today, and I've been running around like a crazy woman, so I'm going to take a nice deep breath. I hope you enjoyed readings today. I so enjoyed them. We had a lot of really cool messages come through, so if you missed readings today, you may want to go back and watch it later. You can always do that. And we are going to end class right on time today at 6 p.m. because we're going to Grandma and Grandpa's house for dinner, or at 4 p.m. I should say. So for those of you who like an earlier finish of class, I think today is going to be just perfect for you. I'm super excited about today's content. I'm teaching you something today that I have been working on myself. And I feel like I've got science behind it. And I get to use my lovely friend over here, Charlotta. For the first time today, Charlotta, this is Charlotta. If you don't follow me on Facebook and you know, don't see much on Instagram, Charlotta may be unfamiliar to you. I've been posting about her on my Facebook page and in my story, but if you don't follow those things, you might be like, who is this person? So one of our beloveds in our Soul Shift group, Carolyn, recommended an Etsy shop. I love to support small businesses, and I was looking for kind of a mannequin really to work with so that I could do hands-on crystal healing in a way that would really help you understand how to do this on other people. So I bought her on Etsy a couple of weeks ago, and then my friend Sherry's been over. Well, I took her wig off because I'm doing chakra healing today. She does have a wig, but when her wig's on, you can't see her beautiful crown chakra, so we have no wig today. But anyway, my friend painted her. I have a beautiful friend who's coming and painting all around my house. She painted the word blessed in my kitchen. She's painting a peacock outside, and she's painting all over my house. So she was like, you know what? I could paint her overnight and have her back to you in time for class. So she sure did. So she has all of her chakras. She has to get very, intimate with you to show you her root. But there she is in all of her glory. Chakra Khan, I like it, Lauren. You know what, Lauren? That can be her code name. Code name, Chakra Khan. I like Chakra Khan, so that's actually going to stick, I think, darling. But when we're doing crystal healing, she's going to go a little bit bare because we do need to be able to work with our crown. Are you having fun with her? I know, isn't she cute? I'm going to put flash tattoos on her and all kinds of other things. I just, this week I haven't even had 5 minutes to do anything. So maybe next week when I have a few minutes to breathe, I'm going to adorn her a little bit more. Isn't she fun? So today's class is going to be exciting, I think, for you. Today we are we're working with some worksheets that you've received. If you haven't looked at them yet or didn't do them or fill them out, there's no pressure, no worries, okay? But I'm going to show them to you because we're going to talk about them today. So we're going to be talking about the vagus nerve today. We've talked about it once or twice before, but it's such a big deal when it comes to energy work that you're going to hear me teach you about it at least once every year. Because some people who are here this year were not in Soul Shift last year, and I can't teach energy work without talking about the vagus nerve. It's actually a way of me teaching energy work that grounds it in some science and in some physiology that I think will really make a quantifiable and quantitative difference in your life, and not just airy-fairy, let's think about this, let's meditate, but actually how do we start to move energy in your body in a way that results in weight loss and pain relief and all these things. So we are going to be talking about the vagus nerve today, and then you got a set of worksheets in addition to that, in addition to all your week 1 worksheets. No, I'm not going to be doing tapping today. We can certainly talk about tapping. Today I'm working with the vagus nerve and the chakras, and I'm working with a new tool that's in your set. So if you got your tools for March, this tool is going to come to life for you today. If you've been sitting here going, what is this woman going to do with this thing? This has really changed my life since I started working with it. And I think it might be able to change yours too. And you might be looking at that going, well, what is it? It's like a X. But it's not. This is a carving that we had made for you. This doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. We designed it as a team. We came up with the concept and had these made for you. So this is based on what's known as the double Dorji or double Vajra. And this is a key to unlock your chakras. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to move energy in your body. That's the entire focus of today's class. And I love bringing you something completely new. Now, what will happen, just like with you know how I created the extractor needle, and all of a sudden there's like people who have them on Etsy and stuff, you will eventually see these somewhere, and they'll talk about them as energy keys, which is what I'm referring to it as, because it unlocks your chakras. Eventually someone will copy it and put it on Etsy too, but for now, this is completely unique to Sage Goddess. We made it up, we designed it, we carved it. Is there a substitute for the tool? The best next thing is going to be probably your hands. And then what I will try to do is bring some of these to the shop outside of tools. It's going to take probably 2 to 3 months before I can do that, but I will try to have some of these made. And I'm really excited about it because I've been physically using it. I would never recommend anything to you that I'm not doing, haven't tried, haven't worked with, haven't experienced success with myself. And I've been looking for a tool to do this this particular kind of energy work for a while. And one of my teachers is actually so into it that she wants me to have them made for her clients. And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, slow down. I don't even have them for anybody else. So I'm calling it the key. This is a key. And I'm going to teach you how to use it today, so stay tuned. And like I said, I'll try to have some more keys made, but it'll take a few months because pandemic. But we'll work on it for you. And in the meantime, I'll show you how to do it with the key, and I'll show you how to do it with your hands. Okay, and then you can start to work with it. You could alternatively, if you wanted to, you could take two quartz points and you could glue them together. I mean, if you're real fast on the draw here and you got a glue gun, if you have 2 double terminated points, you could take them and glue them together and try it. I have not tried that, but that would be the closest you could come to what this is. This is like 2 double terminated points, but they're connected. Does that make sense? So if you want to go, while I'm kind of teaching, because the first part of our class today is going to be teaching, so I'm going to ring our bell. Welcome to session 4. So I'm going to be teaching you, going through your worksheets, and then we're going to be doing the actual activation. We're going to be unlocking all your chakras today. And I'm going to be showing you both on myself and on Charlotta. We're going to do a full chakra analysis with your pendulum. So please have a pendulum ready. I know that 99% of you have a pendulum. If you don't have a Sage Goddess pendulum, you've got your own pendulum. And if you don't have a pendulum, please take a necklace off your neck. Please go to your jewelry box and grab a pendant on a chain. That will function as a good pendulum for you if you don't have a pendulum. If you don't have a pendulum, I will tell you there's probably going to be 3 or 4 more times this year in Soul Shift that we will use them, at least. So it is one tool that I really recommend that you have. And again, if you absolutely are like, I don't want to buy tools, I don't have tools, grab a necklace. The more of an emotional connection you have to and I don't know that they called it the key or whatever in the description of your tools, by the way, because this is my personal name for it. Oh, you're okay, Cecilia, don't worry. I would go ahead and use it. So if you don't have any pendulum and you don't want to buy a pendulum, the stronger an emotional connection you have to a necklace, the more powerful it's going to be as an accurate pendulum for you. So ideally it's something that you wear all the time. Could be a necklace that's like a gift to you, so it's got a lot of energy to it. Some people have tried to make their own pendulums, but it's very difficult to do the weighting accurately, so I would just say make sure you have one or you have a necklace that you can use. Yeah. And do you guys have any questions? It can't be a 5-pointed star for this. It has to be 4 points because of the 4 directions. That's actually the secret to the key. The key is activating the energies of the 4 directions to stabilize each one of your energy centers, and I'll explain that in just a minute. So again, if you have the key, that's great. If you don't have the key, maybe you have 2 double terminated quartz points that you could use and that you can actually maybe glue together and use that as a key of your own. You can also place your 2 fingers over the area, but the thing is we're going to be turning it, but I will show you how to do that. It's not as easy, and I'm not sure it's as effective, but if you don't have any crystals and no tools today, I would say grab a necklace and let's use your fingers, and I'll teach you the direction. I'll teach you the energy work of it. Cecilia, can you work with Alexis? I'm not sure how broken it is, and so if it's completely, one side is completely missing, you might be better off doing 2 quartz points or your fingers, and I'll have Alexis kind of check in with you and help. Christina G, there is no origin of this type of key or tool. I designed it. Yeah, so if you're just joining, today's class is based on about 5 years of research that I've been doing into how to move energy through the human body via the chakras in a way that incorporates the vagus nerve, and that also is in alignment with what we know about the chakras, which they are energy centers and vortex points. Chakra literally means spinning wheel in Sanskrit. So I've been doing this work and designed this tool because of the exercises that I've been working on. So there is no origin point other than my own wisdom. One of the reasons I do this, by the way, I create my own tools, I create my own process, I create my own lessons and teachings, is I like to do things a little bit differently, and I like to be an innovator. You know what I mean? I'm not somebody who likes to follow what everybody else is doing. I like to create my own processes and my own methods and my own tools. And sometimes when I'm coming up with these things, they don't exist. So I'm lucky enough to have carvers I can say, I need something double terminated that forms an X, that looks like a double dorji, that's small enough to hold in my hand, where I can rotate energy. Like, I'm lucky enough to be able to have people who can run with that and make tools. We chose to make this for you, by the way, out of snakeskin jasper, which is the stone of shape-shifting, releasing, shedding old skin, moving energy. And in particular, this is really powerful for stabilizing the lower chakras. So that's why we chose this particular stone. Yep. So what I would say is enjoy tonight. It's kind of fun. I do my own thing. And what's cool about this is if you decide to start incorporating this into your practice, nobody else is going to be doing this. If you have clients, I guarantee you they've never had anybody do this to them before, because I looked before I had these made. These don't exist, not for this purpose. So this is a whole new proprietary technique, and it's something I'm giving to you. You can work with it with your clients. You can do it on your friends and family. You can do it on you, and you see how you go. If you love it, then you can start to maybe even find your own way of doing it. You might want to design your own tools, or and so just press pause for a second, because I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. Like I just said, double dorji, everything I've mentioned to you, I'm going to explain. I'm just giving you like the high level overview of tonight's class so you kind of know where we're going. But I'm going to come back and double click on all of this and walk you right through it. It's a 2-hour class tonight, so hold on to your hat, and it's jam-packed. You don't have to, well, you may not have clients now, Blissful Heart, but 10, 20 years from now, a lot of what I teach you, I was learning long before Sage Goddess ever formed. I've been doing this work really in a serious way since I was in my late teens and early 20s. And so I still come back to some of those early concepts. I didn't start Sage Goddess until I was 36 years old, 37 years old. So you may think to yourself now, oh, I don't need this. I don't have clients. I'm not helping anybody. And so you may start working with it on you or friends and family, and then poof, 10 years from now, all of a sudden you have a healing center. You know what I mean? Because the universe does flippy floppy things with us, and sometimes puts us on a path. You might be starting something when I'm retiring, right? And you might look back and go, I'm really glad she taught about that, because I ended up opening a healing center. This ended up being the star of my show, kind of thing. So anyway, just hold space. What I would tell you is, based on my path, you should soak up everything as if at some point you might work with people, because I would have told you 20 years ago, I probably won't work with clients, right? It wasn't the path I was on, and then all of a sudden the universe was like, no, this is what you're doing. So hold space for that. I mean, if you want to, if you feel that you don't want to be in that line of work, I obviously wouldn't pressure you to do that. But sometimes you learn things or you find things ahead of when you need them, and that's been consistently kind of my path and my experience. So you never know. Yeah. So this is snakeskin jasper. Snakeskin jasper is kind of an amalgam stone too. A lot of jaspers are. So this is kind of a black jasper with a white jasper and a red jasper, and it covers a lot of the directions. Actually, the only color that's really not in this is yellow, which is direction of east. So one of the reasons I chose this stone is it holds 3 of the 4 directions in itself, which is kind of neat. Yeah, white is the direction of north, and black is the direction of west, and red is the direction of south. So this kind of felt like the right tool, and plus it's a releasing stone. Snakeskin jasper is about shedding old skin. So when we go through and we release energy, which is going counterclockwise, and then we call in energy, this is kind of the right stone for the job. So I'll be very curious. I will tell you this. I would love your feedback on tonight, because it's something that doesn't exist, because it's something that I created, because the process is sort of proprietary. I would love your feedback. If you're like, nope, I didn't feel anything, I didn't enjoy it, okay. If you really felt the shift tonight, I'd like to know where you felt the shift, and we're going to talk about which chakras probably need some work in your field. And like I said, we're going to do a quick analysis with your pendulum too. So you never know what will happen to you. And I say that as somebody who life has consistently surprised me. Yet I'm always here for that. I like being surprised. So I hope you do too. So I'm going to burn just a little bit of things for us. So I'm going to teach you for a little while. We're going to do some hands-on work. And then I'm going to try to leave a little bit of time today at the end of class for questions. I do like to create space for you. And so for the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to be really focused here. And as usual, I'm going to have Alexis responding mostly to your questions in the feed, which gives me a chance to focus. And then I'll be able to respond to your specific questions when we get to the end. I don't know, Lorian, what stone does hold all 4 directions? Are you asking me, or are you telling me? I would say, if you're asking me, the only stone that I think could potentially hold all 4 directions is quartz. But I didn't want to have this made out of quartz because when we're removing energy, I don't want to magnify it. I thought about it. So I had this made out of a releasing stone, but I didn't want to do bronzite. I wanted to do something that would sort of represent multiple directions. But if you know of something that holds the 4 directions, like if you know of that, I would love to hear your thoughts on that too. Would UDLA hold the 4 directions? It's interesting. I mean, I think we probably all have a thought about that. And you're probably right. If it feels like it does for you, it probably does. Oh, you're asking. Okay, yeah. I would say quartz is probably, for me, the only one that... Because quartz can be programmed to act as if, you know? So it's if there was one that I was going to say had the potential to do it, I think it would be quartz. You know? Yeah, I don't see, in zebra calcite, I don't see some of the elements, but again, for you, it might be, that might be the one for you, and you could always run your pendulum over it and see if your spirit guides agree. Like, yeah, you know what, for you, for Gloria, it might be zebra calcite, for me, it might be snakeskin, you know what I mean? You can program quartz to take on any properties. The only thing with quartz, though, is it is a magnifier, and you can't remove that property. So when I'm doing releasing work, even though you can program it, I don't work with quartz. That's kind of the one line that I draw, sort of, because quartz can bring too intense of a vibration, especially when we're trying to release or let go of energy. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to dive in, and like I said, if you have questions right now in the feed, Alexis is here, and she'll do her best to respond to you, and then I'll leave some time at the end tonight to answer the balance of questions. So far, everybody's been really enjoying the new format, and that's kind of what I've been doing, so I'm going to stick to it, since it's helping most people, and I'm enjoying it too. It feels a little bit more coherent and organized, so I'm here for it. Okay. So we're gonna really take a step back today, and like I said, and I did want to say one more thing. Session 4 in Soul Shift, right, is either experiencing or crafting. Each month we're either going to make something or we're going to experience something together. Obviously today is experiencing, we're not crafting together. And so this is a session where you're going to see me up and around. I'm going to be moving, working on her, working on myself. And then I want to invite you to work on yourself too. So this is more of an experiencing session as opposed to a crafting session. And sometimes we're going to alternate. But I kind of like the idea that we have this time together where we get to just be about the experience, putting our hands on to something, you know, whether it's you or if you want to work with a mannequin too, or if you have a child, you know, in your house who's willing to be a fun guinea pig for energy work, or if your partner happens to be home or you want to work live on somebody too, you could totally do that. That's kind of session 4 of Soul Shift. So I wanted to say that just for some people who might be new. I thought that might be helpful. Okay. I'm taking you all the way back for a few minutes. Remember that Alexis is taking notes for you, so you don't have to. You can just kind of be present, and Alexis and helpers are taking notes. Okay. Your body, your physical body, is a highly regulated and coordinated system of systems. I'm sure you probably realize that. And I want to preface today by reminding you, I am not a medical doctor. I am a philosophy doctor. I have a PhD. I went to school for the same amount of time that medical doctors do, but I can't prescribe you drugs. Why am I telling you that? Because I'm not going to be going into super specifics around the physical body itself. I am going to throw some science at you today because I am a scientist, so I do like to kind of steep you in some more objective information, because I think for some of you, when you go out into the world and have conversations, it helps you to be able to say, well, actually this is physical, right? But in terms of, you know, specific treatment of your central nervous system and things like that, that would be another class that you might take. This one is more focused on the energy work today. So as I was saying, your body is a highly regulated and highly coordinated system of systems. And there are certain beliefs that I have. Something's knocking on the door. I think it's Smudge. Do you hear that? Okay, I'm going to forget about it. I think my cat's outside. What's happening? I don't know. Okay, it stopped. Maybe we're okay. Let him in. I know. I just don't want to get distracted, so I'm going to stay with you. Why am I telling you this? I believe, and this is one of my core assumptions that's underlying today's class, okay? I believe that your body can heal itself. And I don't think it needs too much of your permission to do that. So you should know that's one of my working assumptions. I've seen physical miracles, okay? I have seen people spontaneously and instantaneously heal from crazy things, okay? And like my whole life, I have seen this consistently. So you have to know I'm somebody who believes in miracles, who absolutely believes that the body can and will heal itself if it's given time and the energetics and the space to do that. And so that's what's underlying today's lesson. Now, if you don't believe that, today's class may require a little bit of a leap of faith. Like, really, is that possible? Is it possible to spontaneously heal? Is it possible to... I'm just going to go check on what that is. I'm sorry, you guys, because I think it probably will distract me after a few minutes. I'll be right back. Sorry, it wasn't smudge. My husband is installing my son's new birthday gift today, and they're going to take a break until class is over. I was like, listen, guys, I'm happy it's Nick's birthday, but you have to wait to install that until I'm done teaching. So they're gonna take a break from installing Nick's electronics until class is over. Sorry about that interruption. Okay. Now, when you have, and the reason I'm telling you this about the body, okay, when you have a breakdown in your system, okay, this is another one of my beliefs, okay. I believe that a pain in your shoulder, okay, can actually be the result of an energetic breakdown in any place in your body, because your body is this complex, intermingled system of systems. So energetically, so a shoulder injury could be because somebody punches you, or you fall, or you hurt your rotator cuff or something like that. But a pain in your shoulder actually could also be an energetic issue, right? A blockage in one of the meridian lines. And so the process of discernment, when someone has an injury, for me, okay, when someone has an injury, it's always complex. Is this, and a lot of times people come to me when they say, you know what, I have this pain in my shoulder and I've never injured my shoulder. Like, what's going on, right? Like, I can barely move my arm, but I never injured it. Or I've got this pain in my hip. I have no history of this, right? I've never injured it. I have no arthritis. Doctors have seen me. They don't know what it is, right? And then we have things like fibromyalgia, right? Which a lot of people in my life have fibro. But fibromyalgia is also this kind of like, it's a collection of symptoms that then gets a name so that we have a diagnosis, right? So I'm very curious how healing happens. And this is part of why I believe healing can be spontaneous, and it doesn't have to even be about the original injury, right? So, and like Gloria said, sometimes you just have the weight of the world on your shoulders, truly. And so can that have an impact, right? If you're taking care of your nuclear family and your extended family and your community and all these things, like, can't that weigh down on you, right? Or to Janine Gibbons' point, could it be something from a past life? So part of my quest in life is to understand the origin of pain, and also to understand the proximal field of healing, right? If I believe what I believe, and if what I believe is true, then everything I'm telling you today should be accurate. And if what I believe is not true, then I'll have to come up with a new theory at some point, right? So because your body is this interconnected system of systems, it's very easy to end up with a disturbance, an imbalance, because if it's all interconnected, it could be anything that causes a disturbance, right? And because we are electrical, because these systems are electrical, something that starts in your shoulder can end up in your hip, could start at your neck, could end up in your, if we look at the vagus nerve, which I meant to print out a picture for you, but you can Google it and look at the actual anatomy of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve extends from the corpus callosum in your brain all the way through your digestive tract, kind of bottoms out at the reproductive organs, right? But when you think about that, that's a huge, it's got its fingers in every pie in your body. And so that's why today we're going to talk about the vagus nerve, because the vagus nerve is the only nerve in your body that touches every chakra and every aspect of your digestive system. And here's my theory. You ready? And again, not MD, but I will tell you something. I am very close to a lot of MDs, and I've said this to them, and they've all agreed. So I don't think this is an outrageous statement to make. All those systems are connected, right? And I believe if we can get your chakras aligned and heal your digestive system, and Ayurvedic practitioners believe this as well, we can probably sort the rest of it out. You know what I mean? Because to Lorian's point, it regulates all internal organs. So what I tell people is, I got to fix your digestion, and I've got to fix your chakras. If I can do that, I think I can take a crack at what's going on with you. I may not be able to fix everything, solve everything, change everything, but I really believe if I can get your chakras right, and by extension, if I can get your digestive system corrected, because they're partners, right? I mean, your digestive system and your chakras. If your chakras are out of balance, how do you know? Half the time it's because your digestive tract is fucked up, right? So, and how do you know if your digestive tract is screwed up? Every day you should be monitoring your poops, right? I mean, sorry to make it so basic for you, but you need to look at how your digestive system is functioning or not functioning. You need to look at how your energetic system is functioning. Your chakras are a good proxy for that. And if I could fix that, I could probably fix the rest of it. This is how I have healed myself. So people ask me all the time, well, what did you do? What I did is I said, where am I energetically and how's my digestion? And until those two things are in hand, I can't fix the rest of it. And so Carolyn's saying this is basically her whole job, right? Now, Carolyn's got better wisdom and better tools, you might say, right? Because she has the benefit of medicine behind her, right? So I'm coming at it more from the energetics, although Carolyn manages both. And so I will always tell you this. I think I see a lot of doctors. It might surprise you. I actually really enjoy talking to doctors. I enjoy doctors' visits. I seek out new doctors. If somebody's like, I've got this great internist, I'll make an appointment just to have a conversation. I've done so many telemedicine appointments this year, just talking to new doctors because I like to learn. And I find that every time I have these conversations, it's like, tell me more about this, how could I fix that? How would you do this? And I get some little great nugget for them. I really encourage you, right? I really encourage you to look at medicine through friendly eyes and to maybe consider starting to have some additional conversations with doctors that friends of yours really like or would recommend to you. I learn something every time I do it. And I may not continue to see these people all the time, but I grow every time I get wisdom. And I like to balance Western medicine with more of this Eastern wisdom that I incorporate. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Now, when we talk about energy flow, we are talking about how you run a frequency in your body. Okay, how you run an energy, right? This is very important because how you run energy determines how well you sleep or don't sleep. It determines how much energy you have during the day or don't have. It determines the rate of your metabolism, right? If you have a higher metabolism or a lower metabolism. When I'm running a good solid frequency and it's moving through my chakras really smoothly, I can eat more and actually lose weight. When I have a blockage, I can literally look at food and gain weight. Okay, so one of the ways I know when I have an energetic blockage is when I gain weight, because I don't really change my diet all that much, and so I know it's energetic. When I gain weight that's hard to lose, that's running it, or that's depleting it. So Lori Michelle, today's whole class is how to help you run a higher frequency. That's my entire purpose with you until 4 p.m. today. Is how do we do this? And that's why I created this tool for you. That's why I created today's class for you. That's what your worksheets are all about. That's literally what the next 90 minutes of my life is dedicated to, is helping you run a higher frequency. Like I said, a lot of classes I've taken, and I've taken a lot of classes from different spiritual teachers, a lot of them focus on the what. You need to raise your frequency. But then when it gets to, well, how do I do that? It's like there's nothing there. Right? So part of my goal in Soul Shift is not just to say, you need to run a frequency, you need to remove energetic blockages, you need to be able to assess and evaluate your chakras and the health of them, you need to be able to manipulate those energy centers. Once you've assessed them, you need to be able to manipulate them. This class is the how and not just the what of that. And it's, for me, again, 2 cents, this is what's worked for me. It may not work for you, but at least it's something. Like, moves you in the right direction. And it's something that you can do. I've given you a tool, but I want you to try it without the tool if you don't have the tool. I think it's a lot about intention and the focus of energy. And menopause can throw it off. If you have surgery, this can throw it off. If you have a C-section, my energy was great till I had a C-section in 2009, and then I dropped into one of the worst bouts of depression I've ever had in my life. And I didn't think I was going to make it through. And we all go, oh, post, partum depression. And then we put that in a box and we label that. But I had an energy blockage. And until I fixed it, I wasn't going to come out of that funk. You know what I mean? So different things. You can go through a divorce and it can funk it up. You can go through happy things and sad things. I was so happy to have my daughter, but my energy was so screwed up, totally funked up after my C-section. So there's a lot of different what we call presenting events, right? Like events that yield the presentation of some of these symptoms. And then my goal with today is I want you to know how to respond, and I want you to know how to diagnose. So we're going to talk all about that today. Now, I'm going to take you to a concept called the 0 point. The other question, you haven't asked it, but I'm going to answer it because I always ask it when I'm taking classes. I don't ask it so much anymore, but in the original part of my learning around energy and healing, the number one question I used to ask my teachers is, but where does it come from? This that you're doing? What is that? Who is that? Is it coming from you? Is it coming from God? Is it coming from, where is the mojo, right? And a good healer will tell you it doesn't come from them, right? I mean, I am not the magic. I am very human. I am very human, right? So it has to come from somebody else. On my best day, I'm a good channel of energy. I know how to work with it. I know I'm intuitive. I can learn how to use tools, but I'm not the magic, right? So here's what I will tell you. And this is why I want to make this scientific and not woo-woo. Some people will say, well, it comes from God. And now in my personal faith tradition, I believe that's true. But I'm going to give God a different name for you today. Okay? I'm going to call God the 0 point field. The 0 point field, okay, in physics is, I call it a well. Okay, and where does it go when you release it? We can talk about that too, Mackenzie, so just remind me, especially if I don't get to it before the end of class, remind me at the end, so we can talk about that too. The 0 point field. I believe that there is a well of energy in our universe that physicists describe as being unmanifest potential. It's sort of like primed energy, okay? And it throbs, it vibrates in our universe. If you follow the Hermetic principles, one of the principles is the principle of motion, right? Energy is constantly moving. Energy is never at rest, right? So there is now you can call it source, but for today, I'm going to call it 0 point. What I love about 0 point is you could talk to a quantum physicist and you could say 0 point field and they will absolutely know what you're talking about and they're not going to think you're crazy, right? So if you want to know where it comes from, I believe that there is a well of energy in this universe that you can draw on at any time that is constantly throbbing, alive, available for your partnership, and that does not have any value until you attach a value to it. And that's called the 0 point. This is energy that has not yet manifested its potential, right? It is literally sitting, throbbing in the universe, awaiting its direction, right? And I love it. So Lisa's calling it ether, right? There are different names for this energy in different traditions. Every tradition has mentioned it, but I kind of like to play with modern scientific terms because it allows us to take what is otherwise kind of etheric and make it quantifiable, right? We can identify this throbbing field of energy. So one of the things I like to visualize on a day like today, when I'm working with a tool like this, and I am working in this swirl of energy and I'm moving energy, is I like to imagine that so as I'm moving this key today, I like to imagine that what's turning the key is not me, okay? What's turning the key is what's coming through my arm, through my intention into my body and through this tool is the energy coming from that 0 point, right? And so it's moving through me. I'm conducting it. Now, in some cases today, I'm going to be removing energy. The key can unlock and it can lock. Okay? When I am locking, when I am contracting, when I am releasing and removing energy. So I had some pain. I have used this and I shifted the pain in my own body. No joke. Okay? Now, I think that's partly intention. When I unlock energy, I like to open what I call a vortex point to send that energy through almost like a compost, okay? I like to give that energy a place to go and a direction and how to get there. Again, that is another 0 point field of energy, right? But it's the opposite spin and vibration. The conscious creation field of energy is a clockwise spin, just like your body exists in what we call a toroidal field. Do you remember me teaching you about the toroidal field last year? Your body sits inside of this big vibrating donut of energy, okay, called the tube torus. And so we flipped your torus last year in class, if you recall. I never flipped mine back because I've been enjoying it, but you can flip it back if you want. So we exist in these big tubes of clockwise moving energy. The quantum field moves in clockwise fields of energy. Your chakras are moving. Your chakras are like little mini versions of all of this inside of you. They're always moving. Chakra in Sanskrit means spinning wheel. right? Like everything is moving all the time. So clockwise movement is a spin that creates energy, attracts energy, and moves energy through your system. Everything is designed. The chakras are like interlocking wheels in your body. Okay, so they should all be spinning. They should all be spinning together. They should all be spinning locked, right, in locked step together. When you have a blockage, one of them stops moving. What happens to the one next to it? It's trying to move, but it can't. So then what happens to that one? It stops moving. What happens to the one next to it? It's trying to move, but this wheel's not moving. So you start with a blockage in your solar plexus. This is what happened to me, which led to a blockage in my sacral chakra. It couldn't move because the solar couldn't move. So one chakra gets blocked, and you wait a certain period of time, and all of a sudden all of your chakras are blocked. It is literally like clockwork. And so what we have to do is we have to figure out where the blockage is. We have to move it. We diagnose with the pendulum, and then we have to go in and start to unlock. Now, this is the tool for me that has moved. You know, if a cog is stuck, it kind of is. It's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? Okay. When there's pain, I use this tool counterclockwise to unlock it. Okay, and to release it. It's sort of like a valve. And I'm telling you, like I said, I've been doing this for the last 3.5 weeks, and I've literally felt the difference afterward. Now my sample size is 1, right? I've only done it on me. Now my sample size is going to be bigger because you're going to try it and you're going to see how it goes. So far, does this all make sense? I've already said some complicated things. Are you with me? I'm happy to repeat things. I'm happy to describe them in a different way. I just don't want to lose you. Okay? Are you good on 0 point field? That there's a big well of energy in this universe, untapped potential, and that you can actually tap into that field of energy and channel it, right? You can move that. As a healer, that is a right that you have. Yeah? I'm just checking in. You're good? Okay. I'm taking you somewhere we haven't been before, so... Okay, and so that energy can be brought in to your digestive system. It can be used to juice and power up your metabolism. It can be used to move energy through the meridian lines. This is, yes, counterclockwise or clockwise creates and counter releases. Yes, Karina George, and thank you for putting it in those terms because that's a really nice, concise kind of description. Okay, it's logical, right, Thomasina? Okay, good. So we know that these are wheels. So I guess I don't feel like what I'm doing is that earth-shattering in the sense that we've always known these are wheels and wheels turn, and maybe they need help turning, or maybe we have certain places that need to be locked down, right? We need to like shut the energy flow off to certain places, especially if they're outside of the chakra system. What I was doing for myself is I was shutting the energy off my shoulder, and then I was increasing the energy flow down my spinal column. So I was shutting off the signal here, but expanding the signal here. I think what my body was trying to do was run energy through my shoulder that was blocked at my cervical spine. Does that make sense? Now, again, what do I know? But the pain in my shoulder is almost completely gone, and I was starting to have this kind of neck pain where I'd wake up in the morning, it was kind of stiff, and I haven't had any of that. And I'm not taking any pain medication. Which I was taking at least a Advil or something on a lot of different days. And my goal was to not take any NSAIDs or pain relieving medicine at all. So we'll talk about weight gain too, because weight gain is a byproduct of not doing this. Are you ready for that? Okay, so I'm going to teach you what I did today. I'm going to teach you everything I know. You're gonna come up with your own techniques. It's going to be great, and we'll see how it goes from there. Now, your job, if you follow what I believe, is to become a superconductor of this energy. Not just a conductor, a superconductor, a metaconductor, a conductor who rides above this system so that you constantly remain in the flow of this primordial force, right? The 0 point or primordial force or source frequency or whatever. This is all the same thing. Right? It's the big unmanifest goo in the universe, right? That exists there. And like I said, it's throbbing, it's moving, because nothing is fully at rest in our universe. So it's, you have the right, the capacity at all times to call upon this energy. My theory is people don't do this because either they don't think about it this way or they don't know that they can. I had never really done it this way until I sat down to really try to feel my way through this process before. And I was like, I'm not that consciously working with the primordial force. I mean, I think I am, but am I consciously sitting down and calling that force of energy in? I don't know that I was really doing it on that level, right? Yeah. And so this is just about whatever you want to shift, change, or improve, right? So you may be like, I'm good, but maybe you can help somebody else. Maybe you don't have pain. Maybe you're at your body's ideal weight. Maybe all of your systems are functioning perfectly. You've got perfect digestion. I mean, there are people who are just super healthy. This may not even be for you. It may be for a friend or a family member or a client that you encounter at some point down the road. It may not even be anything that, that you in particular need to address. Let me see, there was one. Yeah, exactly like clock wheels. Okay, so how do you know if you're a superconductor of energy? How do you know if you're getting to that point? What does a superconductor do? My definition of a superconductor is someone who experiences no conscious or unconscious resistance to the flow of energy. Now, I have to explain to you what that means for just a second. This is all really important, like backstory, okay? Some people, in my experience, healing is very hard for them because they consciously want it and subconsciously don't. Okay? And the difference is free will. So one of my favorite teachers talks about this theory and has for like 20 years, and it's relevant for us to talk about now. She's one of the first teachers I started working with when I was like 18, 19, 20 years old. She talks about the fact that animals, she's really into animal rescue and animal healing. That was partly what she did for a while. She says animals will naturally pursue their own healing. Hands down. I mean, animals will seek healing, they will seek help intuitively, because animals intuitively, when they are ill, seek to pursue healing. She said people are not like that. Humans are not like that. A lot of humans will not actively or consciously seek healing. And she had different theories for this. One of her theories was some people came here to experience illness and disease without healing. Like some people, she believed, consciously came here to experience those things. Some people don't want to heal because, in her view, healing requires a little bit of responsibility and accountability. Like, I have this, I want to fix it. Some people get a lot of pity and attention from being sick, and I know a lot of people like that. And they say they want to get better, but then if they really got better, they wouldn't have the same relationships, friendships. They wouldn't have as much to talk about with their neighbor. You know what I mean? So I have found that some people actually consciously want to heal. I really do believe it, but subconsciously there's such a block because it's going to change their life. It's going to change their relationship. It's going to change their daily routine. It's going to change their appearance. You know what I mean? And they just don't know what to do with it. And it can be really overwhelming. Carolyn was saying she was talking to someone today who's attached to her diagnosis, right? So if you're in that place, I will not judge you. You know what I mean? It can bring community. Illness can. It can bring connection. It can bring, I don't know. It can bring some of those things. The choice that's before you, I think, is that worth more than comfort and wellness and longer lifespan and all of those things? And that's a choice, really, that ultimately, at the end of the day, only the person can decide. But I share that with you because sometimes it might surprise you. As a healer, you might have somebody come to you and they're like, please help me. I really want to get better. Please help me move the energy. And especially when I was doing readings for people, sometimes I would say to people, I'm in your energy field and there's a resistance. And until we can name that and claim that, I can't move that for you. You know what I mean? And then the person would break down and start to cry and go, you know what, you're right, I'm not ready yet. Or, you're right, I'm nervous about what this new life would look like if I was well. And I have a social group when I go to my doctor's appointments and things. Like, when you start to get underneath the why and you have a lot of compassion for that, it's like, maybe you need to wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like, maybe healing and wellness is going to create its own trauma. And so the person has to be fully on board. And like I say, not just consciously, but also subconsciously. That's really important. Okay. Now, the vagus nerve, like I said, is the biggest conductor of energy in your body. That's why we're talking about it today, that we can't have a conversation about running energy without talking about the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is called the vagus nerve, kind of the same root word as vagabond. It's because the idea is that it kind of wanders around through your whole system. It gets around, okay? It's a little bit of a vagabond nerve. And it touches everything, like I said. It touches all your chakras. It touches your central column. It touches your entire digestive system, right? So there's kind of nothing it doesn't have its fingers in, and because of that, it's so incredibly important. The most important thing, right? The most important thing with the vagus nerve when it comes to attuning it and activating it is your breath. And the number one way you can tell where you're at with your vagus nerve, and I'm like this when I'm stressed, I stop breathing. I stop exhaling. The vagus nerve requires the exhale. And a lot of empaths I know walk around like this. Like, it's almost like we're waiting for something to happen and we don't exhale, right? So if you're constantly inhaling and then waiting for something to happen, like a lot of people are in a traumatic state, that disrupts the flow of energy through the vagus nerve. It can lead to adrenal challenges. It can lead to rising cortisol levels. It can which leads to weight gain, which leads to a sluggish metabolism. Like, all the things that you don't want happen when you're not allowing energy to flow through that nerve, right? So you have to, now for a while when I was starting to do this work, you guys, I left notes everywhere to myself. Exhale. I was constantly like exhale and make yourself do it. And with vagus nerve work, the exhale has to be a little bit longer than the inhale. The exhale is so important. So this is what I taught you last year, if you remember. Inhale for 2 seconds, exhale for 4. But most people do not have that kind of really deep exhale. If you're ever sitting with a really, really powerful healer and watch them breathe, they breathe like that. Right? Yoga practice teaches you how to breathe like that, right? We do need an exhale bebop for that, right? But this is really, really true. So all of these are just other tips that you can use in addition to the key that I'm teaching you today. Watch your breath, make sure you're exhaling. Don't walk around like you're waiting for something bad to happen. You know what I mean? Like, as a mom, I feel like I'm constantly like this. Like, did you do your homework? What time is, we haven't had lunch yet. You don't open that box. You know, like we walk around in this constant state of like inhale but no exhale kind of thing. Right? We're really learning how to let that energy go. Okay, let me make sure I've covered everything here that I want to talk about. So, what is the goal of today? The goal is attunement, alignment. Aligning your chakras and attuning your energy system to the flow of energy through your vagus nerve. So making sure your vagus nerve is toned and that the flow of energy through your chakras is connected to your vagus nerve and that vagus nerve is aligned, right, and attuned. So how do you know that? It's like your breath can really be a superconductor, right? Your breath is that mediating force. That's exactly right, Tina Matthews. That your breath is what conducts the orchestra. And so it's an autonomic function. It doesn't require you. I mean, you are exhaling, but are you really exhaling? If your inhale is longer than your exhale, you're going to end up with some energetic issues. There's kind of no way around that. You have to begin to be consciously aware of this. Teach your kids this. When my kids are having panic attacks, which has been a lot of this year, right? School is so stressful. Oh my God, I'm late for my Zoom. My technology is not working, all these things. Before we talk about it, before we fix it, right? It can become just a really unspoken thing in your household, right? 2, 4, 2, 4. 2, 4. Now, there are vortex points in your body, which are the 7 corporeal chakras. I'm not going to speak to you today really about the Earth Star Chakra and the Soul Star Chakra, because those are what we call extracorporeal. They're not in the body, right? The Earth Star Chakra is what connects your feet to the earth. It's not really technically a part of the central channel. And the Soul Star Chakra is about 12 inches above your head, connects your toroidal field to the toroidal field of the universe, right? So it's important. But it's not really involved in the day-to-day function of your energy systems in as direct a way as the 7 physical chakras are. So we're going to be focusing on the 7 chakras today. And so those 7 chakras are vortex points. By definition, what's a vortex? A vortex is any point of energy with a clockwise spin or rotation. So there's a lot of different vortex points, but certainly the chakras, right, in your physical body are vortex points. They're portals. An anti-vortex is the opposite rotation, right? It's counterclockwise, an anti-vortex. So, but you can create an anti-vortex in places where energy is locked, right? If there's pain, you want to try to release the pain, which is why I do a counterclockwise spin. And once the pain is released, then I will do a clockwise rotation there to make sure that the energy is moving through. But I don't like to, I have found that it's better to release pain and let that pain contract and subside and release itself and remove itself from the field, and then to go in and then to call energy into that space. If I open up a vortex where there's already pain, I can actually end up magnifying the pain rather than releasing the pain first. Yeah, Laurie Michelle's right. The alternate nostril, which I taught you guys that last year too. I don't know what session that was, but if you guys aren't familiar with that, or you can always look on YouTube too. There's some great breathing tutorial videos on YouTube that you can find too. So the alternating breath is another way of toning the vagus nerve. We had a whole class on vagus nerve, so if you ever want to go back and have access to that, Alexis can guide you too with the session that was. I don't, off the top of my head, I can't remember, but Alexis has a whole list of the classes and the energies of them. Okay, so the other, like I said, the other worksheet for you around the vagus nerve just reminds you that what the vagus nerve does. So it decreases your heart rate, right? It regulates insulin secretion, so it's very important for your for sugar and for the function of your liver. It's important for the gut. It increases the gastric juices, so it gets you ready to digest your food. In the brain, it helps keep anxiety at bay, so that's why your breath is so important there. It opposes the sympathetic response to stress, so it helps to mitigate your body's own natural inclination to fight or flight. In the mouth, you can see what it does there. Blood vessels, it's all about the vascular pressure in your body and the tone of the nerves and the blood vessels too. So it regulates your blood pressure. It can lower your blood pressure. That's why when you breathe, you lower your blood pressure. That's why when you go to have, every time I go to have my MS infusion, I have really low blood pressure as a general rule, like really, really low. But it's always a little bit higher when I'm having my infusion because I'm not relaxed, right? I don't like having an IV in my arm. I'm around other people, right? So I'm not, if I was at home doing it, I'm sure my blood pressure wouldn't be as high. So I work on vagus breathing when I'm at my infusion so that my blood pressure doesn't go up too much. It's interesting, right? Yeah, so that's one of your worksheets. And then in this packet, if you are not familiar with chakras, this is such a great introduction to them. I wrote The Ultimate Guide to Chakras, which I still think is a great book. But if you don't want to buy a book, read a book, this is free for you with your class content. And it's kind of enough to get you there. And what it does is it walks you through what it looks like at each one of your chakras if it's imbalanced. Now, we're going to test it today with your pendulum. So you actually don't really even need to know this. I love to use my pendulum as a tool for diagnostics of the chakra system, but if you don't have a pendulum, you can just answer the questions. It'll tell you. So if your root chakra is imbalanced, these are some different manifestations of that. Depression, sciatic pain, holy shit, right? Cold hands and feet, lower back pain, fatigue, anemia. I am going to teach a bonus class coming up soon on adult development and the chakras, because everybody's been asking me to do that, because the chakras form at different ages. The root chakra forms ages 0 to 5. So also, if you had really intense trauma before the age of 5, that can land you with a strong root chakra imbalance too. Yeah, so in my book, I connected the chakras to different goddesses, and then Roberta Orkwood did all the paintings. So that was kind of fun when we did that. Your sacral chakra imbalances can look like alcohol and drug abuse, because when your sacral's imbalanced, we often try to numb out. I call it numbing out and dumbing out. You get low sex drive. You know, your pee-pee doesn't do the thing, right? You get urinary issues. Ongoing candida infections can be sometimes energetically a symptom. I mean, it can be a physical manifestation too, but it can be an energetic symptom. And so that's about, you know, diagnosing what's going on with the sacral. Solar plexus imbalances, right? Colitis, ulcers, diabetes, digestive problems, hypoglycemia, binge eating, constipation is a really common one, right? Right? And then anxiety. Fear sometimes can land in the solar plexus depending on when trauma happens, right? And then the heart chakra imbalances look like lung and heart issues, breathing disorders, high blood pressure, upper back, shoulder, wrist pain. My mom literally has every sign of a heart chakra imbalance, and poor thing had a lot of trauma at the time the heart chakra was forming for her. So, you know, you can probably even read this and kind of see people that you know and love and where they kind of land with this. Throat chakra imbalance can look like thyroid issues, Hashimoto's disease, mouth, jaw, tongue, neck, and shoulder issues, autoimmune conditions, swollen glands, bloating, frequent infections. Third eye chakra imbalances can look like paranoia, headaches, although headaches are often a crown chakra situation, sinus issues, migraine issues, disorders of the eyes, the optic nerves, insomnia. I do believe the reason I had optic neuritis is because I was having a third eye awakening and it went too fast, which is a very Eastern interpretation of MS. And then crown chakra imbalances can look like skin rashes, headaches. Headaches are usually crown chakra. And sometimes it's too much energy going through the crown. You know, like you try to meditate too fast or drop in too fast and it's too much. Bloating often shows up around throat chakra, by the way, because it's the suppression of energy. The number one way we as humans control or attempt to assert control over our energy is through the throat chakra. And when you try to suppress energy, it can actually cause your body to not just bloat, but to gain weight. And so one of the things that's so important, especially for empaths, is to keep expressing, keep communicating, because if you decide, I'm not talking, I'm not speaking, I'm pushing those emotions down, I'm not going to express, I'm not going to speak my truth, all of a sudden the body can respond, right? Learning difficulties, memory disorders, all kinds of things at the crown chakra. But the most common one I see is headache. Yeah. What if you have symptoms on all 7? You could have 7 chakra blockages. Let's take a look, shall we? Okay. So I am going to open a circle for this just because I'm probably going to open a vortex to remove some energy, and I don't like to do that outside of a circle. You can choose to open a circle if you want, or you can just let me open the circle for you. It's kind of your choice. Some people like to open the circle alongside me. So I'm just going to quickly open a circle, call in the guides and the guardians, just to be here and present in this moment. I'm going to, oh, did I lose my camera over there? Let me see if that's working now. There we are. Poor Charlotta, she's like, is this show going to get started here or what? I don't know, Charlotta. Well, that just sucks. Well, we're going to go with it. So I did want to light my candle. I like to have a little fire. I just put mine in the center of my shungite disc. I don't know why, but it felt good to me to do that. I've already anointed with my perfumes, but if you'd like to do that too, you can. And I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of my dream incense on the disc. Because before I do any healing, I really like to, you know, set the space. And while I'm lighting this, I'm going to welcome in the guides and the guardians of the 4 horizontal directions. East for clear sight, clear vision. South, welcoming them in for transformation. West, inviting them in for emotional healing and release. And then north, inviting them in for patience and protection. And I'm going to invite in also the guides and guardians of the vertical gateways to be present with us. Yeah, I did a mix today of the Atman with our Spring Gateway perfume and then the one that we blended on Monday. But it's kind of up to you. Atman's nice for now because I'll tell you why Atman, and this is why I made it for you in the first place. So at the very least, I would work with Atman. Atman is sort of that all-pervasive force of creation in the universe, right? It's another name for that. And that to me is the manifestation of the 0 point, right? That's a way of understanding the 0 point field. So this is one I would work with if you're going to be connecting into that broader, you know, force, what I call the primordial force. That's really what Atman is. So this can become a good talisman. The more you work with this, the more when you smell that smell, you know what I mean? Your body's going to immediately know, okay, this is what we're doing. You form kind of a scent association. So, and there's pure essential oils in this blend too, so you can spray it across your charcoal disc to get a little bump. I don't know if you saw that, but that's kind of fun too. Isn't that super fun? Yeah. Somebody asked a great question in the feed, in the Facebook group, and I know we're in the process of responding to you directly about that, but I wanted to share my thought with you. The spray perfumes of Sage Goddess and the oil-based perfumes are both made with essential oils. The reason sometimes that the sprays smell a little bit stronger, and this comes from French perfuming, the alcohol actually allows the essential oil to be translated more accurately than the jojoba oil does. Jojoba kind of dulls the smell of the oils, alcohol sharpens it. So I could make you Atman as an oil blend, and if you'd like that, I could do that for you. It would smell very similar, but it wouldn't be as sharp or strong because the alcohol kind of sharpens it. It might be kind of fun to have an Atman oil blend too, so that we could compare and contrast that. So I wanted to have my tools there. Now, along with your key, you received 4 stones to represent the 4 directions. And so this is what I'm going to show you how I would be setting up for this if I was doing a healing session. That's the whole reason I got our beloved Charlotta in the first place. So today I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of proper body work. Come on, Charlotta. She's shy, but she's here for it. Okay. So what I would be doing with these 4 stones, did she take my, wait a minute, I lost a stone. There it is, okay. So these stones represent the 4 directions. So your howlite represents the direction of north, and your obsidian represents the direction of west, your red jasper represents the direction of south, and your beautiful yellow aventurine represents the direction of east. So what I like to do is actually orient the stones to the directions where the person is laying. So where her head is in my house is west. Now you can actually start to lay them beginning with the east if you want to do it properly. So this is east in my room. This is south in my room. This is west in my room. And this is north. Now the other thing I would be doing if I had her here as a client is I would put copper at her wrists. This is why I have these little copper spheres that Sage got us. So I'm going to lay these. Do you see where I'm putting it here? Right here on her. Pull this closer so you can see. There we go. She gets copper at one wrist and a copper at the other. If you want to take it to the next level, you can use 4 of them. Right? So you could put copper at her wrists, and then you could do copper at her ankles too. I'm just going to place those next to her. The reason we do that is copper conducts energy, right? And I apologize because I can't see your questions. I'll do my best to anticipate them. I can't, because from where I'm sitting, it's hard to see the questions in the feed. But so again, it's yellow is always east, and then red is always south, black is always west, and white is always north, aligning to the Lakota medicine wheel. Okay. So now what you're going to do, in addition to making her very comfortable, when I'm actually doing work on someone, I really do like to go through and just do a little laying on of hands. I always ask the client first, are you comfortable with touch? Because I do find that really starting to just gently massage the body before you do energy work helps the person feel comfortable. I might put an eye pillow over her eyes, just to start to get her comfortable and into the zone. And I like to try and work with both hands. I usually will leave one hand on the solar plexus and then just come through and gently massage the other, part of the body with the other hand, just to kind of stabilize the energy. Usually having someone's hand on your solar plexus helps you to feel safe and comfortable. So I just go over this because there's certain techniques that I do when I'm doing physical work on someone that, because I don't have a massage table and I'm not at the office, it's harder to show you things this year. That was the intention, but then we ended up in a different space. So, but you'd want to be checking in and how are you feeling? Are you warm enough? Is the music too loud, right? Normally I would have music playing, but I wanted you to be able to hear me really well. Okay, so once you feel, and I typically do keep at least one hand on the body at all times, and it could just be at the wrist, but I find I feel much more safe and connected. And as a client too, like if I have my eyes closed and someone's working on me, I kind of like to know where they're at. So it just helps me to feel a little bit safer and more secure. Yeah, I was just showing you how to work with copper because it's something that I do. And so it's not required. You don't have to do that, but it's something that I do because the goal of this exercise is to move energy through the body. So copper is the copper will be conducting the energy as I'm moving it. And Charlotta is not always the ideal client. Her copper's falling off. So what I begin by doing when I'm doing any kind of assessment like this is I like to bring the pendulum over and just begin to get it through the energy field. And you can extend it all the way down. It's just kind of letting the pendulum acclimate to the client's energy field. And start to stay with your own breath. And so we'll begin at the root. Is the root chakra balanced and aligned? You can also ask if there's a blockage there. It depends on how you want to frame your questions. Just be consistent with your questions all the way through. So is the root chakra balanced and aligned? And I'm getting a yes. Is the sacral chakra balanced and aligned? Is the solar plexus chakra balanced and aligned? Now, Charlotta is not human, so we may not see any imbalances in her field. We're going to run it on mine too. Is the heart chakra balanced and aligned? Is the throat chakra balanced and aligned? I'm just going one by one. Is the third eye chakra balanced and aligned? Is the crown chakra balanced and aligned? Okay, so let's pretend, for the sake of exercise here, that she has the same imbalance that I have, right? Which is a solar plexus imbalance. So if I noticed that she had a solar plexus imbalance, I would work directly with the disc, or with the key. Now, ideally the key goes skin to skin. So in a perfect world, it would depend on which chakra it is and what kind of relationship I have with her. If she was okay with, you know, just kind of barely exposing just above her belly button so I could place the key, and I would have asked her that in advance, right? So since obviously she's a mannequin, I don't have to worry about that here, but just to show you. The other thing I'm going to tell you is always warm up your stones. As a crystal healer, there's nothing worse, especially if you're doing skin application, than putting a really cold natural gemstone onto human skin. So I always like to warm up my tool using my hand and my breath before I apply it. And so what I like to do is place the key on the body with the at least one of the points going vertically up and down the body and the other point directly horizontal. This is how I begin. Okay, and then if there's an imbalance, my goal is to begin to turn the key clockwise to form a spin and to be able to open this chakra. And what I'm visualizing, I mean, I literally am visualizing the energy, again, of that well of primordial force coming through my central channel, down my arm, and channeling that energy through this disc to open that space for her. When I do this, I would have my hand on her boobs, and I'm not really trying to do that. So if this was an actual person, I probably would have my hand on her arm. Again, in service of keeping one hand on the body at all times, just for comfort and connection, and then working the key. And you can do a certain number of times. You can say, I'm going to do it 7 times or 11 times, or kind of pick your perfect number. What I like to do is turn until it feels, the energy flow feels like it's moving more quickly. And then before I take the key off, run the pendulum again. Now hers is saying she's aligned, but it already did, right? So it's a process of checking with the pendulum and checking with your own intuition. Do I feel like the energy is flowing more smoothly? Now, let's say Charlotta came into me and she said, I'm here for a chakra balancing, and I also am having pain. I'm having pain in my left shoulder, okay? So if that was the case, what I would be doing is I would be moving the energy here, and I would be looking at what chakras are closest to her left shoulder, heart and throat. Okay, well that's interesting. If she's got an imbalance, this is where it kind of is a diagnostic process, but it also can help you think about the body as a system, right? Which is my whole goal for you today. We are a coordinated system of systems. If she's got pain here and a blockage here, I can almost guarantee you she's got a blockage here. Right? Because do you remember what I told you? When this chakra stops moving, this wheel stops moving, what happens to this one? When this one stops moving, what happens to this one? And so if she's got a blockage here and pain here, I can almost guarantee she's got a heart chakra blockage, and then I'd want to be asking her about her throat. Now the key said it was open, right? But what I would want to do with the key is I would want to first just go to the heart and just spend a minute there opening just a little bit, because you can't hurt a chakra by opening it. Okay? So even if it's already balanced, I want to open it, and then what I would do is I would find the space of the pain, and I would have her help me, guide me, right? Am I there? Is it here? It's a little higher, okay? And I would try to use my hand, and you can also use your pendulum to validate, right? Like, am I in the right place for the pain? okay? And then I would take my key and place it over the shoulder. Now, before I do this next part, and this is what I did with myself, okay? There's 100,000 things you can do with this tool, but I'm trying to give you kind of some easy ways in. The next thing I'm going to do before I do this part to relieve the shoulder pain is I'm going to open a portal. If you have a wand, a quartz wand, you can use a quartz wand. If you don't have a wand, you can use your finger. I'm just going to use my finger to show you how to do it. So when we open a portal of energy, we're already in a circle. I use my pointer finger clockwise to open a portal of energy. I usually will ask a goddess or a guide to help me hold that portal. This is a healing portal, so and a pain relieving portal, so Hygeia is a good pain relief goddess, healing goddess, right, to work with. Kuan Yin always comes to help me hold portals, I don't know why, but she's a good compassionate guide for that work. Now once I feel like there's an opening in the energy field, then I stop. That's the portal right there. You don't want to leave this open. This is a little tear in the matrix, okay? And you're only sending energy into it. You're not retrieving energy from it. This is a kind of like an energetic trash can, okay? You don't want to go in there. That's simply for releasing purposes. But I'm only doing that because I'm releasing energy from her shoulder. So now I'm going to go in with the key on her shoulder, and instead of going clockwise, because I'm not opening energy here, I'm actually going to turn it counterclockwise, and this is what I did on my shoulder, with the intention of releasing that energy. Now remember, I've got copper on her hand, so whatever energy is moving through is not going to get stuck in her hand. One of the reasons we use copper is to extend the energy line so the energy is released from her body. It doesn't stay there, get trapped and end up as carpal tunnel, right? So I don't want this energy staying in her field. And so as you're feeling the energy release, visualizing the energy coming through her field and out through the portal, and just keep turning until you can feel a release. And the more you tune in to the person, the more you'll really be able to feel this. And then again, before I release it, checking with the pendulum, is there any additional energy that needs to be released here? It says there is, so I'll keep turning. Again, counterclockwise and releasing to the vortex. Anytime you feel an energy coming up, release. Again, you don't want it coming through her body, you don't want it coming through your body, you're giving it a convenient channel to leave through. Whenever people do releasing work and they don't open a portal, I get very nervous. I'm always like, where are you putting that? Is there any other energy that needs to be released? You see the pendulum? Change direction. And then check in with her. How are you feeling? How's that shoulder? And you can do just a little bit of gentle body work to move. Again, it's just nice to have that connection and move it through her wrist and her hand. You could take it and really move it through her fingers, you know. Just take her little pinky and her ring finger and her middle finger. You can pull through the fingers, right, and really feel the energy pop through the fingers. And just creating a nice line of energy down through the palm of her hand, which feels really good. And then coming back through. Now what I like to do once I've moved a lot of energy is come back through and do another check of the chakras. Okay. Is the energy clear? Is the energy clear? And always go to the surrounding chakras, because remember, they're all interconnected. Is the energy clear? Is the energy clear? And just run it down, because you don't want to have her come back later and go, well, now I've got this, you know, now I'm feeling like the blockage moved lower, right? And again, just the same thing. I usually like to just take it down the legs to the toes. You can do the same thing here, massaging each one of her little piggies or pulling the energy through. And again, down the other leg, right? And then through the toes. Right. So that is a very quick demonstration. Now, if you're doing this on yourself, in some ways it's a little bit easier. Pick up all my crystals. I usually try to gather everything counterclockwise when I'm picking crystals up. My carpet's dark, so it's hard to see my my stones. So if you're doing this on yourself, now I can read your comments. I know if you were here, I would do that for you. Sometimes I really miss working on humans. Yeah, so we've released that energy into the portal. So I'm going to check myself, and then I'm going to close the portal, see if there's any energy I want to release too. Well, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm not closing that portal yet, because I may have something I want to release. Did I bring my pendulum back? There it is. Okay. Oh yeah. You yawning? So, I'm going to do a quick chakra check on myself, starting at my root, and just ask, is there any energy that needs to be released? Not at my root. Is there any energy that needs to be released? Not at my sacral. Of course there's energy at my solar plexus. It wouldn't be me if there wasn't. Is there any energy that needs to be released at the heart? At the throat? At the third eye? It's always the same for me. It's so crazy. At the crown? No. And then you get back to the solar plexus and it's like, is there any energy that needs to be released? Yeah. Ding dong. It's like a machine. Okay, so I'm going to do it with you. So I'm going this much above my belly button, right? So I'm putting it under my shirt. And I'm going to go clockwise, right? I'm going to turn it clockwise. Vagus breath, right? It's okay, Rita. I mean, look, girl, I get a big fat yes every time I go in to the solar plexus, right? It's not like, oh, today I got a great solar plexus. Let's party, everybody. Now, because I am feeling like there's just something that needs to be released on the left side, I'm going to move the disc over, and instead of going clockwise here, if it's at your root, I'll show you in just a second. I mean, it's not cute, but you got to do the thing, right? So now I'm going over here. I'm going to go counterclockwise and release to the portal. Counterclockwise and release to the portal. Counterclockwise and release to the portal. Here it gets caught in it. Counterclockwise and release to the portal. Yeah, root gets weird, but whatever, it's you. I mean, if you were here, I'd do it for you. You gotta, I mean, it's basically your perineum, right? So that's why I was always really grateful that my clients trusted me. Like, I'm getting up in their biz, you know? And then, you know, always check with the pendulum. This is your check. Was there energy to be released in this place? Has it been released? Oh, isn't that interesting? Ariana said her pendulum validated what she put on her worksheets. I'm telling you, this exercise has never failed me. The pendulum and chakras, and I had never seen anybody do it before I did it, and I'd never been. I started doing this on my own years ago, and I've had so many crystal healing sessions over the years, and nobody's ever used a pendulum on me to diagnose my chakras. It's crazy town to me. And I've had crystal healers trained by every person out there who trains crystal healers. Never had anyone use their pendulum. So that's why I'm really a stickler with you guys. Use the pendulum, because it's such a gut check. And then you're not sitting there going, well, did I do the right thing? Or am I sure that that's what it was, or whatever? You've got a constant, yeah. So I'm going to now close this portal. I just wanted to release whatever I needed to release. And so it's the same process, except now you close it counterclockwise. You opened it clockwise, so now you close it counterclockwise. And if any gods or goddesses or energies or archetypes came to help you hold it, you can release them too. Releasing Hygeia, releasing Kuan Yin, thanking them for their help. Releasing these energies out of this room, down to the center of the earth, where they can be transformed and transmuted into usable white light. I seal this portal. I seal that portal. You can feel it. I can feel it. You'll get to a point where you'll just know it's closed. I can feel when a vacuum of energy is open. It drives me insane, and I can feel when it's closed. It's like, okay, we're good. Yeah, I'll show you that now, and then I'm going to show you the root chakra. I'm going to show you the keys with my fingers. Is there anything else that you want me to show you before I close the circle? Because I'm going to show you on Charlotta. If it's your own root chakra, you know, and you're not shy, I mean, you literally, it depends on how flexible you are, but you really have to, I mean, you literally have to get into your root, right, which is right around at your perineum, and turn or turn. And like I said, I like to do skin to stone contact. So, I mean, for me, that's underwear off and you're doing the thing. This isn't a sexual thing. This is just, now when you're working with a client, I'm much more discreet. So Charlotta here has a nice root chakra. This isn't what you thought you were going to be. I'm just showing you up on my knee because it's easier for your visual. I wouldn't actually pull her up on my knee and splay her out, okay? But what I try to do, this would be her underwear line, right? So what I try to do is take it where it's comfortable for the client, right? So I try to get as close to the root as I can. But I'm still, I mean, if she had pants on, I wouldn't take her pants off. I would be doing this over her clothing, right? But this is the sacral. Her ovaries are here, so I'm down here a little bit lower than them, okay? Some people do it above the root chakra. So they do everything, because again, her field is 12 inches above, right? So technically all of this could have been done above the body. But I like to really work on the body. So if I have the client's trust, then I know they'll let me turn it, and they're not going to get weird about it. If I sense any discomfort, or they're new and I don't know them, and they'll say, you know, I mean, I've never had anybody say don't touch me, but if they did, I would stay above. I just would make sure that it's not more than 12 inches above, because if I'm up here, I'm out of her energy field. Your aura is 12 inches. So I can be up here, but as soon as I'm up here, I am no longer in her field. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm not helping her. Does that make sense? Because I made Samantha choke on her soup. So that's how I do root chakra. Crown chakra is the opposite. When you think about it, this is really the human energetic system. Your arms and your legs have their own chakra systems. I'm sure you know this. So, and you have the most chakras on the soles of your feet and the palms of your hands. But this is really the human energetic field, right? It begins at your perineum and extends to the soft spot on the top of your head that closed when you were a baby. So this is really what we're working with. Everything else is ancillary chakras, right? The hands, the legs, and the feet. Okay, so if you're going to be doing this work without a tool, I want to show you what I think that can look like. And I also want to remind you, I really would try, I don't have 2 double term crystals here, but I would try that if you don't have the tool and want to try something at home. I would connect 2 double term quartz points. So what I will do with my fingers is take my fingers in a cross. Sorry. Take my fingers in a cross and turn. and turn, and turn, and turn. And when I'm doing that, I'm actually imagining that 0 point field extending out of both of my arms through my fingers, right? And turn, and turn, and turn. I did try this on myself, by the way, and I did feel it. I would like for you to try it and see if you can feel it with your own hand, with your own fingers turning. And again, counterclockwise, it's the same technique, right? So it's 2 fingers across and turn, and turn, and turn. 2 fingers clockwise and turn, and turn, and turn. One of the reasons I want you to know how to do this without tools is, what happens if you're traveling and you meet somebody or your partner's there and he's like, or she's like, can you just do the key thing? And you're like, I don't know my key. You have to be able to do things on the fly, you know, with your own sacred tools, right? It is. Now I have been doing it with my right hand on top of my left hand, which is my dominant hand, on my non-dominant hand like this. If you're left-handed, I'd like to make a recommendation that you try it with your left finger on top of your right finger. Same thing. I think it will feel more comfortable to you. Having your dominant hand on top makes it more comfortable to me. Okay? And you can probably use middle fingers too. These fingers, your pointer fingers, are the most powerful fingers in my opinion on your hand. They direct energy. That's why I open portals usually with my middle, or with my ring finger or my forefinger. And you can adjust the energy anywhere using your fingers that you would use with the tool itself. Is that helpful? Lorianne says, I just used my middle finger and did clockwise, counterclockwise circles at each point and felt a shift. It's neat, isn't it? So what I think the secret is that idea of connecting to the 0 point field. Because again, it gives you a really, it gives you a visual for, but also an understanding of where this energy is coming from, right? This isn't Athena doing this. This isn't Lori Ann doing this. This is us conducting. Remember I talked about being a superconductor? This is us conducting whatever you want to call it, prana, life force, ki, chi, right? 0 point, primordial force, source energy. There's 1,000 names for it. But I think what's really powerful is when you remember that you're conducting that energy, and all of a sudden the visualization of that energy coming through your hand is pretty powerful. Well, Angel, what I'm trying to, and she's asking why double term. So this is a double term. That's why I'm teaching you, Angel, to do this with your fingers. That's why I said if you wanted to recreate this, you would need 2 double terminated points. Do you see that? Because both of these points are terminated on both ends. I specifically designed it that way. Because a double term is a conductor of energy. It sends and receives. This is sending and receiving energies from all 4 directions. Does that make sense? If I had wanted single term, this would be flat and this would be flat. And then there'd be 2 terminations. That would be single terminated. But this is terminated on all sides and was designed that way for an absolute free flow of this life force energy that we've been working with today. Yeah. You can so Tanya, yes, if you have a double dorji, yes, this is actually inspired by that shape. In the Tibetan tradition, the double dorji, the double vajra, is considered to be an extremely powerful tool. It represents, it's called a lightning bolt, and this is inspired by that. It's a lightning bolt of energy that can transform. And in those traditions, a double dorji is considered one of the most protective tools you can have in your home, on your altar. So this takes that idea, but brings it into the realm of crystal healing, which was my goal. And like I said, I bet you 6 months from now, there are going to be chakra keys all over Etsy. But in the meantime, we made it up. I want you to tell people when that happens. Like when I see extractor needles, I'm always like, I made that. It's okay. It's flattering when people go and do that. But for right now, we're the only ones who have them. Could you do it on the side of, the side of a Merkaba? I don't know, Janine, but give it a try. And then let me know. I mean, what's fun for me is now I'm releasing this process to you guys, and I'm keen to see what you do with it. You know, because you guys have your own tools, you have your own ideas, your own inspiration. You might have something else in your cabinet of magic where you're like, oh my God, this reminds me of this other thing I have, and all of a sudden you're, you know, going through your collection and finding things that you might want to work with. So I love it. And I have to, for me personally, if you ever wonder why I constantly make things up that are new, I have to do this for me because I've been doing this work as Sage Goddess for 10 years in July, and this is what keeps it really exciting for me, is innovating and kind of clearing a path. It's not that the old tools aren't interesting, but I get bored. I want to see what's new, what else we can do, how else can we move energy, what might be the next kind of game changer. And because I had such a good experience with this, I wanted to share it with you too. It's pretty neat, right? Are you feeling it? I'm so excited. And I want to hear more. I mean, as you go through the end of this week and this weekend, if you have experiences, share them. If you have questions, ask them. I mean, that's what our Facebook group is for. That's what I'm here for. That's what Alexis is here for. Yeah, and if you're a visual learner, I hope today was fun. I'm a total visual learner. If you tell me things once, I'm going to forget it. If you show me things once, I'm going to remember it forever. So I tried to make today a balance of like worksheets and lecture with hands-on, the visual, so that no matter what kind of learner you are, hopefully I was able to reach you today. And I want to thank our my girlfriend. She was an excellent helper today. You did a great job. She did. I'm gonna have her sit with me while I release the guardians of the directions. Would you like to help me release them? We called in the guides of the vertical gateway last, so we're going to release the guides and guardians of the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world, and thank them for connecting us to this planet and to, did we invite in the vertical guardians? I think we did. Anyway, let's release them anyway. And the connection to the astral realms, and then we want to thank and release the guides and guardians of the horizontal realm, which is the guardians of the earth in the north, guardians of water in the west, guardians of fire in the south, and guardians of air in the east. And releasing them with gratitude as well. And opening our circle. You're so welcome. So I'm going to stay here for a few minutes and answer your questions. Charlotta did a lovely job. This was her inaugural appearance as my crystal healing assistant. I'm very proud of her. I'm glad you guys enjoyed class. I was looking forward to tonight. I really, really was. Just because it's new and it's fun, and this keeps me going. Counterclockwise on pain to release, that's right. Clockwise to open for energy flow, okay? So the answer is, we had a couple questions earlier. One was, how do we open energy flow, right? It is a great technique. And if you're just doing an opening, if you're just opening the energy centers, but you're not releasing pain, I think you can open a circle. You don't have to open a vortex to release it. I only open a vortex when I know I'm clearing some pain or some energy, and I don't want that coming back. Okay. So that's when I open a vortex. That was kind of, I showed you that because you may need to do that at a certain point. It may be important for the work that you're doing. So one thing you can do every single day is just go through your own field and turn it clockwise to open the energy. It's better if you can lay down and actually turn these, along the chakras themselves. Keep it by your bedside and do it when you get out of bed in the morning. It feels really good. Ooh, opening that third eye felt good. Did you try that? I haven't done that yet. I haven't put it on my third eye. I never have a blockage there, so I didn't really try opening that, but wow, that feels really good. Plus it's a little bit cold. It's like a hot day today, and that just feels really soothing. I'm enjoying that a little too much. And then right at the top of your head, just to open that flow. It's like if you have a hose outside, it's like letting more water come in, right? It's like opening up the channel for that. That's a good exercise to do every day, just to maintain an open channel. That's the goal, so the energy can flow more freely. The copper makes a huge difference. And it doesn't matter whether you get copper from me or some place on Etsy or you have your own copper or whatever. I always have copper at Sage Goddess because it's, again, something I use every single day. There's a pair of these in my travel bag right this very minute. If you were to go into my closet and get my suitcase out, these are in there. Because that way, no matter where I am in the world, if I feel an energy blockage, because sometimes I travel to places and the energy is like, whoo, and when I get off the airplane and get back to my room, it's like, it feels so good just to like, I always have loose sage in my travel bag. I always have a match. I always have, or a lighter, and I always have copper at a minimum, you know what I mean? So you can get back to your hotel room and clear the energy and open the channel. And 4 is nice because you can put, you know, 1 next to each ankle and hold 1 in each hand and move the energy that way. So these are nice to keep by your bedside table too, as another another way to do this. The quintessence perfume that we had, I don't think we have any more of that, but if you have that and you have energetic closures or blockages, start working with that. Quintessence has all of the high vibrational oils that are known to really support the flow of energy through your system too. And you may be more of like an aromatherapy person than a crystal person. So you might be like, well, I think I'm going to try the oil route first, or burning your resins, right, can open the channel too. Kimberly says, from paralysis from the neck down, transverse myelitis, how do we use the key? Where do we place it for spinal heavy inflammation? Do we close anything afterward? It's a great question. In my experience, the energies are there and are not bound. I mean, I don't think it's specific to a condition, okay? And if you cannot place the key directly on, this is why I was mentioning the energy field being 12 inches. So you can, as long as you're within 12 inches of your body, you can work the key. Within 12 inches of the root, right? So again, your root is at your perineum. This isn't quite her perineum, but you know, I didn't want to make it awkward when I'm working with her. But 12 inches from this area gives you quite a field within which to work on the root. I could be working on her here. She could be seated. You know what I mean? And I'm still working her root right here. Does that make sense? Or releasing, same thing, within 12 inches. So if you're paralyzed, if you're wheelchair bound for any reason, this is work you can totally do. And that's where the 12-inch field is really important for you, because you may not be able to place it directly on the body. Somebody else may not be able to do that for you, but you can get it within the 12 inches of the field, and it will be as effective. Really, really it will. Would you use a Vogel versus an energy key to extract energy? You can, and you know what, Sheila? I believe in using all the tools. I really do. I wanted to teach you extraction with this tool because this is this month's tool, and I wanted to show you how many different things you can do with this. We did have a class on Vogels last year. So let's say you have, now, if I was really trying to extract something really dense and heavy from this person, I probably would have had both my Vogel and the key there. But it's kind of nice to know that you can do pretty much everything you need to do and want to do with one tool. The Vogel is a different tool, right? It creates a different spin of energy, and in some cases is more powerful for the release of energy. Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that too. When turning on your own back, is clockwise like your back is the clock, in other words, the opposite of clockwise on your third eye? I want to make sure I'm understanding your question correctly. Yeah, so clockwise is always clockwise, and counterclockwise is always counterclockwise. So if you're working, you don't have to work on your own back to do your energy work. Remember that you have a 12-inch field. So you can work right here, 3 inches outside of your heart chakra, and still be working on your back because you're still within 12 inches of that area. As long as you're in the field, the energy's moving. So you can work on your own back, yeah, if you want to. Thank you for that, Jessica. Yeah, we're going over to my mom and dad's in just a few minutes to celebrate Nick's 14th birthday with them. What a blessing to have my folks here for his 14 years, Yeah, very, very excited for tonight. I appreciate that so much. Yeah. Yeah, it's true too. Fabienne was saying sometimes Vogels are too intense for people. This to me does a pretty effective job. This is the only thing I've been using on my I had one little last nagging place of shoulder pain. I've healed almost all of it this year. At the beginning of the year last year, I was having real mobility challenges in both of my shoulders, and it's unbelievable what I've been able to do without any kind of intervention, without any kind of massage therapy, because I haven't been able to have a massage because of COVID, and without pain medication or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, right? Because my goal is not to take medication. So it's really been amazing what I've been able to do. The pain was ridiculous. So I believe in energy work because I live it, and I've seen real shifts happen for people. So yeah, I'm so glad you were here, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let me make sure I got through all my notes. I don't like to leave anything out. No, I got through every single thing in my notes today, guys. So with that, session 4 of March. Can you believe it? We're into April. Tomorrow's April 1st, for goodness sake. It's already April 1st in Southern Hemisphere. One more time, I want to wish Kaz a beautiful birthday. She shares a birthday with Nick because we're in the Northern Hemisphere and it's the 31st, and today is April 1st in the Southern Hemisphere. So they're birthday twins in different hemispheres. Isn't that cool? Oh, right on. Yeah, if you wanted the copper, it's there. We have some, and you can find copper a lot of different places. You don't have to get it from SG, but I really do recommend it. It's kind of one of the secrets. And you know, when I've told you this story before. There was a metaphysical shop when I was in my 20s here in a place called Redondo Beach, and it's expensive. She's still there, but I love it, and she has nice stuff. And so she had these copper spheres, and they're bigger than the ones I have in the shop. They were about 2 inches, and I remember it was like $200 for the set of them. And I remember just like, you know, oohing and awing and drooling and hoping and wishing and praying for that. So I kind of like that there's travel size. It doesn't really matter what size it is. It's not like a bigger copper ball is going to, you know, move bigger energy or something. So anyway, now this was at Soothe Your Soul. And she was right. They're incredibly powerful tools, but they were just expensive AF. So I like having the little ones to work with. I know. I remember her saying, well, they're solid copper. And I remember thinking, like, I know it's expensive. But they were beautiful. Anyway, now you can get one. They're not that much. I don't know how much our copper spheres are, but they're definitely not that. You don't need a big one. Little ones are fun. You can travel with them. It's easy. Throw them in your purse. You know what I mean? Like, things on the go for me as a working mom are very important. It's not practical to have 2-inch copper spheres. I would never be able to travel with them. They're too heavy, you know what I mean? Like, it just, for my lifestyle, doesn't make sense. So, all right, you guys. Mwah. Thank you, as always, Alexis, for being there. We are going to sign off for now. Bye. Have a great rest of your evening. Stay tuned for session 1 of Soul Shift, which is coming next Tuesday. So our schedule is only disrupted one more time, and that's next week. We're doing class on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. I am getting my second COVID vaccination, which I am so happy about, because after Tuesday, I think I'm already 80% vaccinated. So after Tuesday, I'll be 95% vaccinated, which is really great. So I'm doing that. My doctor just advised that I take the day off after in case there's any side effects, which I'm just trusting my body's going to receive it beautifully. But that way I don't interrupt our class if there's any issues. So we are going to have class on Tuesday, and then I will be offline on Wednesday, and hope you for the best. And then hopefully by the end of the week, I will be right back at it and and moving forward with life at some point. So thanks, you guys. I'll look forward to seeing you on Tuesday next week for Soul Shift. You're so welcome. Thanks, you guys. What crystals for vaccination? I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. I'll think about it.